we talked in the first episode a little bit about how your job in training people how to be media literate has changed so much. I recall the check the source being kind of the backbone of a lot of those early media literacy skills. And that kind of implies an inherent trust in institutions.
Yeah.
We're kind of now in a case where, like, even saying, like, the Mayo Clinic, you can trust the Mayo Clinic. When you know the source, that isn't anymore like the last step. If anything, it's the first step.
So it's like today we can say some of these sources are trusted, but that could all change tomorrow as well. The ideas I trust the most is the idea of science because it has a mechanism within it to correct itself or to be open to new findings. And this idea of consensus building within science. So if multiple sources say the same thing, there's a higher chance that it is correct.
The inherent nature of science is doubt,
Yes.
right? So science is based on philosophy, which is always questioning itself, right? And so when you see something online that says XYZ is true, science has proven, that's actually disinformation too, because science never really proves anything. What it does is it shows a probability of something being true. And so, like, you know, the fact that smoking is bad for you, we have had scientists study this to such a large degree that the scientific method will never say that something is 100% conclusive. But when you're in the 99.99999, you pretty much got consensus. That's what makes it reliable. And this is where journalism tries to get its credibility too, in the sense of good journalism is trying to get empirical facts to find out what is actually true. There's a lot of just sort of, talked about the New York Times. Most of their journalism, I think, is really good and reliable. But there's two questions. Is this an actual act of reporting or is it an act of
Mhm.
opinion? And the decisions behind what gets reported and opinion pieces get published. That's where the critical thinking is needed. So I think the act of journalism is pretty strong. There's a lot of snake oil, just like in science, where they're claiming to be journalism, but they're actually either doing opinion, they might be, secretly backed by a corporation or another government or something like that. So that's why you really need to think about who is behind what is being said. And it's true, like, there's stuff we can't ever be sure of until we get more conclusive proof. Like the carrot question, I don't know that I ever would have gotten that information if I was, a wartime parent trying to figure out what to feed my
Yeah.
kids. Like, they're not dying with these carrots. If it's good for their vision, then this is awesome. When
Raise an army of mole children.
I I think though, like the thing that makes healing is that oftentimes it is giving a black or a white answer. It is such a definitive answer. And us humans, we
mm-hmm.
like that. We
Right.
love it. We love our dichotomies. We love having something concrete. Whereas the real world or the real information is always in this gray area. And that is a lot harder to live in.
Yeah, it goes back to things like repetition or speaking with authority or something like that. If someone says to you, you know, eat 100 I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know why I chose that one. Eat 100 blueberries a day, and they say it with authority, and they're
Yeah.
wearing a lab coat, and they devoted their entire life to selling blueberries. there was a bit of a blueberry craze for a while where everyone was having blueberries every day, and they are good for you. It's like they have, I think they have vitamin C as a matter of fact, and some other thing that's good for you. But 100 a day isn't going to be any different from a reasonable serving amount. So that's where, and then there are people with their own financial gains to be. The wellness industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and there's money to be made by convincing people that a certain food is good for you or a certain supplement is good for you, vitamin C, for example.
And I think where that gets dangerous, the like eat all your blueberries idea, is when you get the people who start talking about cures for cancer. Like I'm not even going to talk about a specific one, but I know they're all out there on YouTube, and it's like, I drank this blueberry tea that I mushed up with some basil every day and my cancer was gone. And then all of a sudden you're in a dangerous territory. And that's very common nowadays on the
Right.
internet. And people refusing to
And
take medications because they think they can cure themselves in other ways.
Is there any overlap too in that people in the midst of cancer probably are high
Of
emotion
Course.
and terrified? They can play on, like, they talk about how much like scammers and scamming plays on fear and how important that would be probably one of the scaredest subsections of the population of
In the
people
midst of
day to
any
day.
health situation, like I remember my pregnancies and then having my children being very young was one of the worst Google wormhole
right.
times of my entire life, where I just had to like stop looking at Google because like, oh God, I'm drinking so much coffee. Like, my baby's gonna have an extra arm, like all of that kind of stuff happens all the time. Or, oh, I ate a hot dog. Like everything is over now. So I think that's such a good point.